Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com, and these are the market positions for November the 8th, 2011. Now, getting started with our first position for tonight, we're going to be looking at the Euro-US currency pair in the Forex market. Now, bit of a tricky play on this. Everybody, I'm sure, is well aware of what's going on in the Eurozone. Number of issues with Greece, with Italy, with other countries inside the Eurozone. So we're looking to capitalize on this short-term volatility. Now, looking at this, we can see that our predicted short, medium, and long-term differences are below the zero line, technically at trend-ready levels, but volatile. Our predicted MACD and our predicted TSI both crossing the trigger to the downside. Now, when we go into our individual crossovers from Vantage Point, we can see that the short-term crossover here is sitting pretty much flat. So we're a little choppy in the interim, but looking at the medium-term crossover and the long-term crossover from Vantage Point, this is suggesting potentially we're getting ready for a bigger move to the downside. So from here, we've decided, doing this analysis, we've decided that we're going to short this particular currency pair. Now we're just looking to fine-tune our entry point. Now from there, we're going to come into the daily report from Vantage Point and see if we can zero in on this. Now, looking at our daily report, we can see here we have 138.56 for the high, 136.99 for the low. So on a move towards 138.56, we're going to use that to set shorts. In this particular case, I think I would have stops over the 140 area to allow for the volatility, but I believe we're in more of an environment where it's more risk off than on. Even though we're seeing some minor rallies in the equity markets, I don't believe that this is going to help the euro to any real extent. So for tomorrow, we're basically, what we're doing is we're applying that basic fundamental to very strong technicals. Now, when we look at the Euro-US, there's something else that I always like to look at with the Euro-US currency pair, and that would, of course, be the US dollar index. Now, when we look at the particular position of the dollar index, what's happening here, we can see that it almost mirrors the Euro-US currency pair. We've got a base sitting here down at 75, predicted MACD and predicted TSI. They've crossed the trigger, but in the opposite direction, to the upside. This is telling me that the dollar is potentially getting ready for a bigger rally. And with the Euro-US, 64% of the dollar, or 60%, excuse me, of the dollar index is the euro. So if the dollar index is going up, Euro-US is going down. It pretty much is black and white to that extent. So looking at the correlation in both using the software and looking at the US dollar index futures contracts, this is telling me that the bias is clearly to the downside on the Euro-US currency pair, and in the euro, in my opinion, in general, with the dollar having a slight edge. So if in the short term, we're going to be looking to set we'll be looking to set our short positions on that Vantage Point predicted high near 138.56, and we'll be targeting the 137 level with a stop again over that 140 area. Now, that's our first position for tonight. Now, our second position is going to be very, very similar to the Euro-US currency pair. We're going to be doing the December S&P 500 futures contracts, but we're going to be looking to short this. Now, you can see that the predicted MACD and the predicted TSI are running basically completely flat. Now, usually what's been happening is we get the dollar up, we get the equities down. So again, we wouldn't be doing the Euro-US trade and the December S&P 500 futures at the same time. It'd be one or the other depending on what markets you're trading, because it is a very, very similar trade. But looking at this, we can see that with this going flat, our predicted short, medium, and long-term differences sitting right around this zero line. This upward momentum in the S&P 500, in my opinion, is losing strength. Now, when we come down to our individual crossovers, we can see that the short term is crossed back up to the upside, but the medium term remains flat with a downward bias, and the long term is also flattening out too. Now, when this blue line and this black line start getting very close to each other like this, usually what happens, there's a crossover. So by the looks of it, I think we're getting ready for a cross back to the downside. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to be coming into our daily report and looking for an entry point. We have 1268 as the predicted high, 1243 as the predicted low. Now, again, to point out, we've closed near that high at 1257. So on an upward move towards this 1268 area, we're going to use that to set short positions, and then we're going to target this 1243 area. So when we're doing that, that's our position. Now that's an intraday trade or a day trade. Your medium and long-term traders, I think we have the potential to run back down towards the 1200 mark. That's a pretty big move to the downside. So let's go in and have a look and see how accurate Vantage Point has been predicting the high and low. We can see we've had a couple of strong breaks both higher and lower. But you can see that this channel where it's predicting, what I want to point out to everybody here, this black line is the Vantage Point predicted low, the red line is the Vantage Point predicted high. The last 2 days in a row we're tagging the predicted low, but we're not hitting the predicted high. This is, in my opinion, this looks very bearish to me. So we're going to get that big move up, not a big move up, but we're going to get probably a 10-15 point move up. But when it does, we want to use that to our advantage and set those shorts. In this particular case, I believe the best place to have stops, even on an intraday trade, is over that 1300 mark, because I think that's going to be a very, very difficult level to break. So somewhat of a medium-term trade. Your intraday traders, if you're looking to put a stop in, that would of course be based on percentage of account. So with that said, these are the market positions for November the 8th, 2011. And again, my name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com.